Hi, I'm Sergio, your creative marketing sidekick. I'm going to show you a bit about the basics of Google Analytics. We'll start with the Google Analytics account structure. We're going to learn how users, accounts, properties, and views all relate to one another. In essence, what we'll be learning is the hierarchy of a GA account. By the way, GA is just short for Google Analytics. Analytics is one of those powerful online tools that all too often is underutilized. One main reason for that is a lack of understanding of some of the core concepts. Unfortunately, many websites exist out there with a less than optimal configuration of GA, with no filters to exclude the times you visit your own site, no goals set, or event tracking, or even relying on an incorrect attribution model to judge the success of your marketing efforts. Many still don't have demographics enabled, and for those that do, they may not have the proper privacy policy in place. But by far, one mistake that most everyone makes when starting off with GA is not setting things up correctly because they don't have an understanding of how Google Analytics accounts are structured. With its low price of free and ease in which you can get things up and running, it's no wonder many businesses take Google Analytics for granted. But do you know who doesn't take Google Analytics for granted? Fortune 500 companies. The version of Google Analytics they use isn't free. Google Analytics premium plans start at $150,000 a year. Don't worry, this video isn't about convincing you to buy into the Analytics Premium or what you may see called the 360 now. So let's take this one step at a time. Here we have the users, which it will be you in orange, and your coworkers in blue, Jim and Sue. Now you have two separate accounts. I want to point out something real quick, what I mean by accounts. It's a little bit of a confusion that we run into when dealing with accounts. You've probably seen this before. You have a Google account, right? And it doesn't necessarily mean Gmail. This one here is one of my accounts. But if you notice, sometimes when you click up here, you have the option to switch to another account. Please note how you'll see here one is Gmail and the other one is at cmsidekick.com. That was set up through Google Apps. You can do that as well. So just so you know, user account doesn't mean Gmail. Usually is, but doesn't always have to be. And it's always a good idea to try to at least have a different picture. For example, this is like my personal account, and this is my business one, right? So you want to make sure that you at least have that so you can, quickly and easily tell which account you're in. If you're ever having an issue where you need to log into two separate accounts at the same time, you can always use this nifty little incognito window, and then so that way you can have one account logged in and then another one on the incognito window. Or even better still, if you have a separate browser, you can use, for example, Chrome for one and Opera or Safari or Firefox for one of your other ones. Anyways, that's an account. That's what we mean by these account users. Now over here, we have a Google Analytics account. And that's probably something you've also seen before, but it's always better to look at. So here is a Google Analytics account here. And believe it or not, one person can have more than one account. If you don't believe me, here it is right here. Google Analytics. This is my CM Sidekick account. All I have to do is click here and I can create a new account. And if you want a step-by-step walkthrough on how to do that, please subscribe and you'll get a video on that. So let's go back to the example here to better understand the Google Analytics account structure. Let's go back over here and we got your account. This is a personal account. If you know, this is the account ID right here. This is something that is unique to that person, not the person, to their account. Go back over here and you will see on my account here, if I go to account settings, I have my account ID. That's my account ID, which if you look at this part, a lot of people know because it's the one thing most people do with Google Analytics is over here. I go to tracking information. I go to tracking code, this UA followed by my account ID and then followed by a -1, 2, or 3, which we'll see a little bit more about that in a second. So we have another account, and this account is a work one. Now, Liz, in this example, the one in orange, could have set them both up like we looked at earlier. Then we have Jim, who just popped over here. Now, what does that mean? Well, even though you have 3 different users, right now we have 5 displayed down here. That's because a user can appear more than once. This is kind of obvious on the orange one. Liz, let's say in this example, Liz set up her personal account, and she also set up this other team account in which they're managing some kind of work website. Well, Jim is a whiz at Google Analytics, and so Liz invites Jim to be someone to just view the other account, see if she has everything set up correctly. Or let's say she invites him over to be a collaborator, because maybe she wants a little bit more involvement on the account. Or even more still, Jim could be an admin in her account and in a way kind of take over the account, help her set up things properly. You get the idea. So here we have properties. And then properties, you got to think of them like physical properties. Like here you have 2 websites, example.com and then 1, 2, 3 modules. By the way, it doesn't have to be websites. They can be things like applications, but just to keep things simple, we'll go with websites. So example.com is one property, and this other one has a different address as another property. I love how in the example they gave on Google's website, they put this example.blogspot.com. This is important because a lot of people run into this. When they first start establishing their online presence, a lot of people go to WordPress.com or Blogspot.com or something like that. They'll get their business name, and this person wanted to have a business called Example, let's say. And so this is example.blogspot.com. That's actually a different address than just example.com. That happens a lot. Let's say my business name is CM Sidekick, stands for Creative Marketing Sidekick. And let's say before I got my own website, I started with cmsidekick.wordpress.com, and I started a blog there. Well, if I use Google Analytics, I shouldn't use the same tracking code on them both, because cmsidekick.com and cmsidekick.com.blogspot or .wordpress, those are different addresses, so they should be treated as different properties. Kind of like in the real physical world, your friend has one address and you have another. They're different properties. Let's go into views and we'll see a little bit about how those addresses actually look. Here's the website, here's the second one, and here is the blog area. Now, if your blog is simply part of your same site, it's simply example.com/blog, it's the same property. However, if you treat it as a subdomain, and what I mean is blog.example.com, and you have, let's say, a different WordPress install with a different theme, or maybe you have Magento at shop.example.com, that subdomain will probably be treated like a separate property. So those are some of the details that only you can answer for your business, but understanding how things are structured could help get to the right configuration. So here we have this UA, and then of course the account ID like we looked at before, followed by -1, 2, and 3. Now these are different tracking codes that exist. For example, this one, Liz's website, exists only on example.com, and Liz's module gadget exists only there. You should never use tracking codes on different properties because you're going to mix your data. This is one of the most common problems that people run into. They'll set up, let's say, a YouTube channel, and there's a section when you set up a YouTube channel that asks for a Google Analytics tracking code. People get excited to say, oh yeah, I set that up for my website. I have one of those. They run over to Google Analytics. They go over to the section that we looked at just earlier. Let me bring it up so I can show you. So here it is. We have people go over here. They land here. They go to admin. They go to property. Right? Sometimes they're not even on the right properties here. We have different properties here. They go to JS info tracking code. They'll grab this guy, the whole thing. Here you go. And then they'll plug it in there. Or sometimes if they're, let's say they're doing some kind of like landing page at another service like leadpages.com, and that is hosted by them, they'll go to grab this script and put it into some other page. This is polluting your visitor data, because now you're having data being tracked on a property, and it doesn't really make sense because it's a different property. For example, here I have creativemarketingsidekick.com and cmsidekick.com. They're separate websites. And I also have my YouTube. I'll use the example here. My YouTube channel has the same tracking code, but not really, because it's -3. So on my Google Analytics account, I will have siloed my visitor information for my YouTube channel separate from the other properties. So this is one problem you definitely want to avoid. You don't want to pollute your data. Speaking of pollute your data, let's go over here just really quick, give you a glimpse of another common issue. So here we have the property cmsidekick.com, and here we have all these different views. If I go over here to my master view, and you can subscribe to get the video to explain how to do this, have master view, and if you go to filters, you have something here like my home IP address. So every time I log into cmsidekick.com WP admin so that I can fix my website and work on the back end of WordPress. I shouldn't count as a visitor because that's just maintenance. That's me going in there, writing a blog, fixing things on my website, and that shouldn't count as something that I want to count as, let's say, a success, that I've actually have a new visitor or a repeat visitor. That's what I mean about polluting your data. Again, this all goes back to understanding the account structure and how these things need to be set up. So let's go back over here to the example. We have this other account, and this other account, we have another website. I don't like that they use this Google Analytics thing. It makes it a little bit confusing. Just to make it easy, we'll say this is a WordPress website for work. And you have over here the marketing department. So again, we're not going to count this as a subdomain. This is just going to be example.com. We'll say, example.com/marketing. And you have a department of people who work in the marketing area, and they don't care about all the traffic of the entire website. They only care about that part of the website, the traffic that reaches that part of the site. So they can have a view. So this is the same property. This is the same account as sales. If you notice, it's the same tracking code, exactly the same, even the -1. But the view filters out the information that they're interested in. That's a little bit about what I showed earlier on this area over here when we talked about filters. You can add filters that will segment the data out to what makes sense for you and your business. Okay, so lastly, we have the master view. That's really important. Once you start entering filters and all these things, that's another common mistake, to go filter happy. Because once you apply filters and start messing with things, although it's good that you're fully utilizing the tool, however, you cannot go back and fix things. Once you modify the data, it cannot be fixed. So historical data is very important, especially when trying to make a business decision on, let's say, how are you going to spend your marketing dollars, what you can chalk up as a success and say this worked or this didn't, or just to be able to justify an expenditure. And usually in marketing, you need to have historical data to back up your hypothesis on what you think is going to work or what you project and sales are going to be. And so always have a master view. A master view basically has no filters in it. And so here we have the same account we were looking at earlier. Check this out. I'm in master view, which is basically my default view. That's why I put default. And then I have over here my raw pristine data, which in a way you get one right off the bat, which is what most people use since most people don't set up views. And you go to raw pristine and there's nothing on there. That's how you want it. And then you have over here test, and test is basically a blank slate that you add whatever you're currently testing as a view. Yes, you would even test your tester. Google Analytics is used a lot of times to test things. However, if what you're using to test things isn't working the way you expect it to work, then you got a really big problem. I just want to show real quick, when you get here to home, when you go to home here, you have these folders. And I think the folder analogy works so much better to understand things. So here you have one giant folder that is your account. And then in that account, you have these folders right here. Let me collapse them down. That are your properties. And in those properties, you have different views. And within the views, you have different reports. Now, over and above all that, you can have different users. You can have different people that you can basically add to your account, have them in as a collaborator. And let me show you that real quick. So let's go to admin. And then over here on accounts, you can go to user management. So I can add someone as a read and analyze only, or someone who can edit or collaborate. And so how you add people is very important. There's a whole other video for that. But I want to just point out something. Going back to the account structure, you usually don't want to add someone to your account. If you go back to admin here, because by adding them to the account, you're also adding them to all your properties. Perhaps you only need help from them on a specific property. Like, let's say you go over here to Creative Marketing Sidekick, and then I have the same thing here, user management. And I go over here and I give them access to that property. Or better still, you don't want them to go into this property and mess up what you set up over here. Maybe you set up like a master view and all these things. And if they start messing with that, like I said, some of these changes you can't go back and fix them. Or for example, you have let's say you start going view happy instead of creating too many views. You only have 25 views. Okay. Speaking of limits, you have 25 views, you have 50 properties per account, and you can have up to 100 accounts. That's a lot of things on there. So the other thing here is, this is what I suggest for most people, is set up your account properly. And then if you need to collaborate with someone, you can go to the view. In this case, I'm going to go to master view. Once I'm in master view, I can go to user management, and then I can invite someone here, and then maybe they can only read and analyze, or they can edit, or those are decisions you'd have to make. But here, you usually do that. The only reason why I'd want to take it a step back would be if you need help setting these things up. So this covers the very basic of Google Analytics account structure. There is much more to learn, so please feel free to subscribe, and you will be notified of any new videos that I put up on this subject. If you have any questions on what we covered on this video, please feel free to leave a comment. For someone doing this for you, like I discussed earlier, you can invite someone like me, who is a Google partner, and I have a certification for Google Analytics. If you're in the San Diego area, I'd love to chat in person. However, if you want to just video chat, and I can walk you through how you can invite me over to your account as an admin to the property that you need help with, and I can help you establish your entire account, all your filters and all your goals, and we can set things up so you can have demographics information. Anyways, this is something that I can help you with. If you're interested, you can go to cmsidekick.com. Also, you can just leave a comment on this video, and I'd be glad to get back to you.